There's something about this topic that nobody's really talking about, and that's where we need to start. I'm, of course, talking about the male loneliness epidemic. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's essentially this huge, societal norm that's going on right now with guys, especially, where it feels like guys are just alone. It feels like people don't want to talk to men. It feels like women don't want to date men. And it feels like it's really easy to just be alone, to self-isolate, and just feel bad for yourself. I think this trend or this idea kind of started around the COVID-19 times. And so I don't know. I just want to talk about this. I wanted to, give my 2 cents on this. I think that this is not necessarily a new thing, but there's a lot of stuff that happens in this video. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to go over. If you don't know, maybe you are affected by this and you don't even know. But yeah, I didn't really believe it myself until, I saw the proof, which is what I'm going to talk about next. So the overall claim goes that guys claim that no one wants to talk to them, but what they really mean is that attractive women aren't engaging with them. And for that, we'll talk about in the future. But again, I want to talk a little bit more about what the male loneliness epidemic is really stemming from and what it really means. All right, so the first point that I want to make is that guys in general have a weaker support network. They have friends, right? Guys have a lot of friends usually, but there's no substance to it. It's just your gaming buddies. It's just your coworker that you talk sports about. If you're really going through something with your girlfriend, or your wife, or just any hard thing in life, you're probably going to talk to your mom, maybe your girlfriend, right? Maybe your best friend in the world, maybe, but for the most part, you're probably only going to talk to the women in your life, and you're not really going to talk to guys, because that's another thing. Guys have to be that tough, emotional, rock where it's oh, nothing is going to ever faze me. I don't have emotions. I don't get sad. I only am, normal, content, or I'm, angry. There's no such thing as being happy. There's no such thing as being sad. And that's, I guess kind of changing here in 2025. I think guys are kind of slowly shifting, but that's a very old school, 1900s mentality that, a lot of guys, they just have that instilled in them from their fathers. And, oh, you're crying, you're a baby, oh, you're mad, grow up, and, I feel like when you hear that growing up, when that's all what else are you expected to, how else are you expected to react? What else are you expected to know? Right. And so, that makes a lot of sense because you have friends, but there's no substance there. If you have a mental health problem, if you are struggling with this, who are you going to tell, And another thing with that, I don't think many guys out there are willing to go to therapy. I don't think they're the type to, willingly admit, not a lot of guys are self-reflective, right? Can I get a like on this video if you agree? If you know somebody or you yourself are not very self-reflective, you don't really know yourself, maybe you figured it out, but at some point you probably were yeah, I don't really know myself. I don't really know why I'm behaving as XYZ. Go ahead and leave me a comment and like the video if you resonate with that part. Another thing that's going on with this male loneliness epidemic is dating culture. Now, I can do an entire video on dating as I have in the past, but dating culture is harder for men. Just look at dating apps, look at the statistics, look how many men are on it, look how many women are on it, right? It's so much harder. There's an insane more amount of competition for men than for women. And, here's the part that's, might leave you a little shocked. It's not easy, right? It's not easy for guys to stand out. It's not that it's easier for girls, but if there's less competition in general, yeah, you're probably going to stand out more if you're a female than a male on a dating app. Speaking of that, I keep seeing this news about this T app. I think it got shut down now, but or it's getting changed right now or something like that. It's where women could anonymously warn other women about men on dates. I don't know, man. I could do an entire video on that. Our generation's getting a little cooked here, because if that's the case, then what's stopping people from just lying about it? And of course, if it was flipped and there was an app where men could just talk anonymously about women that they go on dates with, that wouldn't go very well, right? I think the outcry and the complaining, especially from society, would be very, very different. So You know what I'm saying? Like dating culture is harder. And you probably experienced this yourself as a guy. Not many guys shoot one for one in their life and then marry the girl, right? A lot of people go on multiple first dates, a lot of talking stages, lots of situationships. And it's not a fun situation. It's not a fun environment when you feel like you have to like put, everything out on the line. You have to pick the girl up. You got to pay for the date. You got to do X, Y, Z. And then, they ghost you, no explanation. Boom, you're just ghosted after like a week or two, and you're left with no explanation. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't like you because you did this wrong and I didn't like it. Nope, none of that. It's just, see you, facing reality, taking accountability for your actions, being a kind person to men, like, nah, just not very existent, many people out there, and it's not just women, but men too, like, they don't want to take accountability. It's much easier to just, block someone or remove someone's number than it is to, I don't know, be a civilized, normal person. Again, men suffer from this too. So if there's any women watching this, I'm not only talking about women. There's another part that I think you guys are going to want to know about, and this is the internet section. All right. The internet has created a false reality community for men. Think how many men play video games, spend time on the stock market, spend time watching like a TV show, right? Like the internet, they use the internet. Maybe it's Instagram Reels or TikTok, right? Like they're always connected to the internet. They're always seeing, people in another light. And the thing is, they're seeing people, but they're not interacting with people. It's a one-way relationship because the internet has gone so big, I guess. And gaming, you feel like you're talking to somebody for hours and hours, but in reality, you're not. In reality, you're talking, to a friend, and you're talking to them through your microphone and through Discord or whatever, but it's not reality. You're not actually talking to someone. It doesn't necessarily feel like you're, alone because again, you're talking to somebody the entire time. You're laughing, you're making jokes and stuff like that. But all the while, you may not even know this person's face. You may pass by them on the street and never really interact. Now, of course, if this is like your real life friend or your coworker that you're going to see, like that makes some sense. But, a lot of people have internet friends who live across the country, people who, they may, again, like I said, they might walk by them in the street and not even recognize them. I think the last point that I want to make before I get into kind of like how to combat the male loneliness epidemic is social media comparison. Now, I know this is kind of a bigger thing for women, just comparing from social media, but it doesn't mean that men aren't affected. I think that men are affected by this. There's a lot of comparisons. There's a lot of fit men out there who will, post dating tips or workout tips. And then if you're like a slightly overweight dude or something like that, you could easily just feel like, oh man, I'm so behind. I'm so behind in terms of finances. I'm so behind in terms of, my body and blah, blah, blah. It's not a good feeling. And for that, an easy way to combat this, delete Instagram, delete social media, delete TikTok. Like I feel like I say this in so many videos, but like those things, especially if you're susceptible, especially if you're like not weak-minded, but if you're more persuaded easily, it's not a good thing to have. You don't need extra pressure. Life is already tough enough with bills, with your job, with your school, with finances, with relationships. Like it's already tough enough. You don't need more stress. You don't need more voices in your head, more things to compare yourself to. Oh man, I don't have a six pack. Oh, but then I see like Instagram and then, the first 20 reels are just guys with six packs teaching me how to get abs. Like you don't need that pressure. You don't need that, like so much exposure to something that's like, so unrelatable, or like maybe it's not your goal right now. Like stay focused on what you want to do. If your goal right now is to earn money or it's to get a relationship or whatever your current goal is, like stay focused on that. Like, yeah, a six pack will probably help, working out will probably help, but don't make it your entire identity just because you see it on social media. The next thing that, I'm going to talk about here in terms of combating it is something that, I didn't want to do because I'm a little shy, and I think a lot of guys are shy, but it's to be more open to random strangers. I'll give you an example. At one of my workplaces, there was like a food truck outside, and I was just doing my rounds. Like I do like a morning walk just to pick things up, and not like it as an intern or anything like that. I just like to pick up things to give to other like people on my team, like some papers and stuff. As I'm going through my walk, I see like outside, like, oh yeah, there's a taco truck. And I see these random people. I've never met these people in my life. I don't even know if they work with the company. Like, I have no clue. They're carrying some tacos or coming in the building. I'm passing them. I'm like, oh man, I should say something. I should bring up like something. And I go, as we're like passing each other, the timing's not the best, I'll admit, but at least I did it. I'm like, hey, are the tacos good? Have you had them before? And, one of the dudes at the end, like, he stops. He's like, oh yeah, this is my first time having it. I don't really know. And that's basically it. And it's a very, very simple interaction, but I'm glad that I like pushed myself to do it, because it's very easy to just stay in your bubble. And, maybe the next time I see him, it's like, hey, which tacos did you get this time? Oh, do you know any taco spots in the area? And so on and so forth. And, maybe eventually down the line, it's like, hey, I will be your friend. I'll see you in the halls. And that's a much better, like easier relationship than it is just to like pass by awkwardly every single day. Even though I might be in the same company as you, I might, work with you, if that makes any sense. Be more open to strangers, be more open to the idea of like, even if I don't necessarily need anything from this person, I don't need to ask you a question, I don't need your help with anything, like I'm going to still talk to you. I'm going to treat you like a person, not just as like a resource for myself. And I think a lot of men tend to gravitate towards that second latter half. Another thing I want to talk about here, I think a lot of people are starting to do this, is to break free from the norm of your friend group. If your friend group is a group that just plays fantasy football and they just talk about, where Kevin Durant's going to go in the off season, right? That's it. They don't talk about anything else. Break free from that. Be that first person. I know it's going to be hella scary. Be that first person to be like, hey, has anybody ever had this happen to you at your job? Or has your girlfriend or wife ever done this, XYZ? And you're not ranting, but you're opening up. You're talking about something that's clearly bothersome to you. That's not just, NPC talk. I talked about it in my last video. Don't be an NPC, bro. Don't be an NPC. Don't be someone who just talks about the weather all day and talks about sports all day. No, don't do that. Okay. It's fun to do that here and there, but you're never going to get anywhere. And especially with this like loneliness part, you're never going to break free from that if this is all you're talking to, all you're talking about, right? To break free from something, you have to get out of your comfort zone. And, this means really out. It's vulnerable. It's scary to share something this deeply about yourself, to share something and, maybe everyone's going to laugh at you. But you know what? If they're your real friends, are they really going to laugh at you? And if they're not your real friends, do you want people like this in your life where they will just laugh and poke fun at you? I don't know. I don't want that, and if it pains me to find out like, oh shoot, like, this person actually wasn't a real friend. It's better that I know now than in 10 years when I really need him. And then he's just gone and he's like, oh yeah, I don't really care about you actually. It's better to know that now. No, that's just the way I see it. There's another thing that I want to talk about here to combat it. And essentially it's to meet women in real life. Okay. Nothing is comparable to this because, as much as people want to say like, oh, apps work and things like that, I'm sure they do. Like, I'm not denying that. I think apps do work. I think word of mouth works or whatever. But meeting people in real life is the best and most like authentic way. It's how I met my girlfriend. And, I'm not saying like it's better or anything. Maybe I am saying that. It is quote unquote better in my opinion. That's not to say that, it's like a fake relationship if you meet on like on an app or something like that. I'm not trying to say that at all in the slightest. I'm just saying you will know someone a lot better, obviously, by seeing their face. It's kind of why people like jobs want to do like real life interviews versus like phone interviews or Zoom interviews, because like they can see your mannerisms. They can see so much about your body language, so much about your body and like how you react to things versus just through a voice or through a screen. And when it comes to apps, like I said, I don't know. I feel like the dating pool is so like cooked, for guys that it's like, wow, I'm probably wasting my time out here. It depends on what city, depends on like what kind of girls are, you're matching with and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think that go to a coffee shop, go to a gym, go to a grocery store. Don't talk to people. Don't like stalk people. Don't talk to people like, your first 5 seconds of going into the building or something like that. But yeah, take your time with it, but also push yourself. Again, get out of your comfort zone a little bit. The last thing I want to address here is that socialness is a two-way street. Okay, it's really, really easy to think that nobody wants to talk to me, man. Everybody hates me. It's hard to think and self-reflect and understand that hey, maybe I need to be somebody worth talking to. If I'm just somebody who's talking about the weather, talking about the new Call of Duty, talking about, random garbage, that doesn't really matter in life. Like, yeah, I don't really blame someone for not talking to me. I don't talk to people who, I see randomly. I'm a friend of a friend's and they're just like, oh, like, did you see about the CEO and the cheating scandal? I'm like, yeah, cool. I saw it, but like, what's going on in your life? Like, I don't know, nothing really. Like, okay, cool. Like, thanks. That's so much substance, I feel like I'm talking to like a robot here. Like, no, can we talk about some real life stuff? Okay. That's just what I'm saying. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, man. If you did, leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Okay, this video was one of my longer ones, but it's very fun to make. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.